everyone, Kristina Werner here. Welcome to another video for SimonsTheStamp.com. Today I'm using the Prismatic Snowflakes stamp set, as well as the brand new coordinating dies that were just released. The Prismatic Snowflakes came out in Stamptember, but these dies were just released for Diecember, and I'm going to be using this sheet of holographic cardstock from Simon. It's from the Holographic Variety Pack. I'm going to be stamping these snowflakes and then heat embossing with white embossing powder. So first, I'm mounting all of the snowflakes on the door of my MISTI, and I'm going to stamp them all in one go. I've prepped that holographic cardstock with an anti-static powder tool and then inking up my stamps with a Versamark ink. I'll press that down and walk my fingertips over all the snowflakes to make sure I have a really good impression of all of them. Then I'm going to take some ALABASTER embossing powder from Brutus Monroe, and I'll sprinkle that on top. For the most part, I had a really good impression for all of those snowflakes. But I think if I did it again, I would probably stamp half of them, emboss them, and then stamp the other half, just because with so many stamps on the door of my MISTI, it was hard to really press on the door to get all the details in the center of some of the snowflakes. In the end, it's hardly noticeable that the stamping didn't go all the way through, so I decided to proceed and go ahead and melt the embossing powder and then use the coordinating dies to cut out all of these snowflakes. And in no time, I'm left with all these amazing holographic snowflakes. They're super colorful and bright. My camera while I was recording just could not even handle all the brightness. So I apologize if this is super, super bright to watch. As I'm editing the video, it's like staring at the surface of the sun at some points because these snowflakes are so bright. For the background behind the die-cut snowflakes, I'm going to be using 3 colors of Distress Oxide ink. And eventually I'll be stamping a greeting from the Holiday Greetings Mixed Stamp Set. So I just hovered that Merry and Bright over the cardstock to see how big of an area I needed to make sure was, behind my greeting. And then I started blending. These are some blender brushes from Honeybee, and I'm starting out with the color Shaded Lilac. Then brought in some picked raspberry, just added some pink to the side of that purple. And once I have, 2 or 3 areas of purple, then I'm going to bring in tumbled glass and kind of fill in those gaps. After the initial blending of all 3 colors, I went back over each color area and just added a little more to try to get all the edges blending. Now, this doesn't have to be perfect because for the most part, those snowflakes are going to be covering a large portion of this background. So now I'm taking my heat tool and drying this. I want to make sure it's completely dry because I will be doing heat embossing. So to check it to make sure that I'm ready to heat emboss, I'm putting some anti-static powder down, and then I'm going to go ahead and apply the white embossing powder without having stamped anything yet. And that powder slides right off, so now I know it's ready. So I'm using my anti-static powder tool just to prep that area once again. And then I stamped the Merry and Bright greeting from that stamp set right in the center of my background. I'm going to use some more of that ALABASTER embossing powder right over the top, and I'll sprinkle that and then tap off the excess. Now when I hit this with my heat tool, it's going to melt fairly quickly, and it's just a nice solid white embossing. Next, I prepped my card base, which is made out of some Neenah Classic Crest Solar White 110-pound cardstock, and I scored that at 5.5 to create a top-folding A2 card. I used some Tombow Extreme adhesive on the back of my blended piece, and then adhered that directly onto the card front. I arranged all of the snowflakes around my greeting and then took some foam adhesive and put it on the back of the snowflakes. On some of the snowflakes, I put a little bit of Connect glue from Gina K Designs and layered them up so there were 2 layers of snowflakes, just on one of them actually. And then for some of the smaller snowflakes, I adhered them directly to the card base. There were quite a few gaps on the background left over, so I decided to take 8mm and 5mm crystal sequins from Darice, and I adhered them using my tweezers and more of that Gina K Designs Connect glue. And that finishes the card, except you'll notice the snowflakes are hanging off the edge. So I'm going to take a ruler and a craft knife and just lop off the edges of those snowflakes so that it can still go inside a regular envelope. Now, if you wanted to use a larger envelope, you could definitely leave the snowflakes hanging off the edge, but I plan to send this card in a regular A2 envelope, so I thought it would be best to cut it down so that it was the correct size. So that is the absolutely finished card for today. It's super, super bright, goes along with that greeting. It's a little bright on my video here, but in the final photos, you'll be able to see the detail on the holographic cardstock. It turned out absolutely beautiful. You can get all the supplies, including the holographic paper, the stamps, the dies, everything I used today over at simonsystamp.com. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys in another video very soon.